Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. It's been a long time since I've recorded anything, because of the whole Gaza-Palestine war. It has been something that has occupied me, my family, the entire world really's mind. And I finally decided today to start the series on what I learned when I quit social media for 6 months. And the first thing that I'm going to share is actually the last topic that I really thought about. So, all these 25 things that I'm going to do is going to be a 25 video series. All the 25 things are not things that I've really mastered. They're more like things that I've understood now that I either need to start or stop. Things that it's kind of like conclusions where I'm still trying to act upon all of them. But it's, to help me remember and to help the world collectively in case they have this problem and they just need to fix it too. So today's is going to be called The Ugliness of Lack of Self-Restraint. I don't know if you can see, but I made a list of all the 25 different things, and this is number 25. It's called Ugliness of Lack of Self-Restraint. The point that I really realized this was when I saw somebody, I'm not going to mention names and stuff because that would be violating other principles, but I saw somebody do something after pre-agreeing on a deal. And what they did was, two people that know me and I know them both, they made a deal, and one of them would receive their payment or gains first, and then it was up to them to pay up to the second one later. Okay, so it was like the deal was split in two halves, and each of them gain one now and one later. After receiving the first part of the gain, then the first person was obviously happy. But then when it reached to the point where the second person needed to receive their gain, which was part of the deal, the second person just went nuts. Like, absolutely nuts. Okay, crazy. And they went here and there and here and there. And in the end, it literally was left to, yeah, I'm just breaking the deal because I can't help it. Now, they didn't say it that way, but that's what it was. And it was just so, like, that person is such a repulsive person. Like, no matter who thinks about it, you could be thinking about it. You don't know this person, but from what you've heard, like, do you want to be with that type of person? Do you want to make deals with that person? Not even deals, like just having an everyday conversation with somebody that you know, like knowing what they're capable of. Like, even if you see a murderer, having a conversation with them isn't going to be easy, even if they clearly don't want to murder you, because it's just like, wow, knowing what they're capable of. And, you know, a very big, this is probably the biggest lesson I took from the lesson that I started talking about just now. That is the ugliness of self-restraint. But the bigger lesson I learned from it is there are not a lot of feelings that can motivate you. But one of them I think that people don't really focus on is hate. Like, let hate drive you sometimes, where you hate something so much that you don't end up doing it yourself. Double standards is a serious problem on Earth. I have yet to see a person who doesn't have double standards my big sister doesn't have double standards and stuff that I can clap for her about. She's, mashallah, very religious. What I meant to say was, in my family in general, but I have yet to see a person who isn't actively trying to make religion their top priority not have double standards. And I think for people who aren't religious but who don't want to be a toxic person on earth, then my number one tip to you would be, you have to let hate drive you sometimes. Not of a person, but of a concept. Like, going back on your word just because you can't stop yourself. You have to be able to have a red line for yourself, and that's where I'm going to bring in the Gaza war. I mean, just look at America. They can't hold it anymore. The DNC has Kamala Harris speaking, right? And this is the most critical part. This is where you're literally advertising. So even people like Keir Starmer in Britain for the Labour Party, he actually said, we're going to actually make a Palestinian state. And after he got elected, he went back on his word and said, actually, we're thinking about not doing that. But during the most critical part of the campaign, which is really close to the election, that's when you make all these promises, false or true. And even in that, she couldn't say, we're going to try to make a Palestinian state, or Israel is doing things that it's not supposed to. No. She just said that I fully support Israel's right to defend itself. That's her best. That's her best, okay? Because there's no way that there could be a time that she needs people to be pleased with her from the pro-Palestinian camp than now. So at her most critical moment, she reserves her idea and opinion that Israel deserves to defend itself at this point, has the right to defend itself. See, the ugliness of lack of self-restraint is something that we can all apply to each of our lives. Whenever we make a deal, whenever we say, I'm going to help you, and you end up not helping somebody, you just have to remember, do I want to be like Kamala Harris? No. You don't want to do that. And the thing is, people might say, well, she never pledged that she was pro-Palestinian. She never pledged that. But she did pledge at the DNC that I'm not just going to be a president for one group. I'm going to be a president for everyone. And I don't even have to pull up a poll. You can pull up a poll yourself and see. Most Americans want a ceasefire. Most Americans believe that Israel is committing war crimes. It's like, seriously? You're going to pull something like that and go back on it? Of, I'm going to be a president for everyone. Like, it hadn't even been 5 minutes since saying that, and she violated it already. Because they have a lack of self-restraint. They need that AIPAC money. They need that pro-Israel money. And they just can't. And other people are surviving without it, man. Like, other people, like Thomas Massey. He's more famous than most of the representatives and congressmen, actually. And he's not taking in any AIPAC money. Like, this is the moment when it's cool to be anti-Israel.